Hello and welcome back to the next video in our series on Excel Draw. In the last video I showed you how you could create objects and export them into CAD. In this video I'm going to be showing you a few of the more objects that Excel Draw has, and they are located right up here. So we're going to be going over rectangles, rounded rectangles, lines, text, circles, points, and arcs. The first one I want to look at is rectangles. Now we've already covered these previously, but we have right here a set of rectangles with X, Y, and Z coordinates. So if we wanted to populate those, we need to enable Z values right up here. So Z values included. We need to have that selected. And then we just go over to adding objects and we click rectangles. And as you can see, we have populated right here a graph with our rectangles on it. Now the next one down that we're going to do, I have labeled as RR, and that's because I wanted to distinguish them between the regular rectangles. These are going to be rounded rectangles. And all you have to do is select your values with the rounded rectangles and go right up to the rounded rectangle icon and click that. And then you can see we now have rounded rectangles. The next one we want to look at is circles, and in the previous video I did cover a few circles, so this one no different. We have the X, Y, and Z values enabled, and we're just going to click circles. And as you can see, we now have circles there. So let's move on down. The next is arcs, and arcs, they're laid out a little bit differently than the circles. We still have the X, Y, and Z values. For instance, X, Y, and Z, that's a starting origin. And then the X2 value is going to be the radius. That's the same as the circle. But the Y2 and the Z2 values are going to be your starting angle and your ending angle. And I'm going to go ahead, open up my graph orientation window. And I'm going to zoom this out a little bit so we can better see what's going on. There we go. And let's not show the grid. Okay. So if I select the arcs right here, we have the origin, X, Y, and Z. We have the radius. Then we have the starting angle and the ending angle. And I actually want to make these 190. That way it kind of rotates around. So let's bring that down just like that. Okay, so I'm going to select the arcs, and then we're going to go right up here to the arc button. Click that. And as you can see, we now have arcs. So if we want to readjust the scale, open up the graph orientation window again, and let's zoom out. And there we have it. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of the objects that we can add. So we have not added in a line yet, and a line is very simple. It's a XYZ coordinate starting point and end point, so XYZ1 and XYZ2. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop this right over here. So let's say we have a line going from, let's say, -10 to 0, and we're going to have that going to +10 and 0, and that's going to be our line. So let's go ahead, draw that, and let's add a line. And as you can see, we have a line going straight down through the middle of it. Okay, let's go on to points. And points, they're very simple. You can either have a XYZ1 and 2 or just a standard XYZ points. And what it is, it's just the points from where the lines are going to be at, or the points from where the points are going to be at. So let's make one. I'm going to make one at -10, -5, and we're going to make that at 2. So I'm going to select that, X, Y, and Z values right there, and I'm going to go into add point. And we should see a point populate right there. And the final thing that we want to add in is text. So I'm going to add in a text value. Let's say it's going to be right below this line, probably in the center. And text is set up very similar to a circle where you have your starting values. So I'm going to have it be -12. And let's see, actually I'm going to have this be, I'm going to make it -5 because I don't want it all the way over to where the line is. -12, it should be down below the circles. So that's our X and our Y. The Z I'm going to leave at 0, and the fourth bit of information, which is going to be the X2, is going to be your text. So you can have in there whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to have this say test. And then what you do is you select your data and you go to add text. And as you can see, you now have a little point right there where you have the word test written right out. And if you zoom in, the test box will actually get bigger and the text will adjust to the size of whatever you're zooming into. So I have the graph orientation right here. And if we zoom in, and we can zoom down here, we'll scroll down, see if it'll work. And there we have it. The test actually got bigger. So depending on the size of the font that you're using or the text, you can actually zoom into it and it gets larger with the scaling. So I'm going to go ahead and reset our values right here back to our default. Zoom out a little bit. And those are all of the options for creating shapes inside of Excel Draw. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to export this into CAD so we can see it there as well. So same thing as we did last time. I'm going to CAD DXF and we're going to go ahead and hit export. And there we have our image. And as you can see, there's test right there. Okay, well, thank you all very much for watching. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. In the next series, we're going to be going over a few more of the functions that we have inside of Excel Draw. We will also be covering in a later video how you can automate Excel Draw with your own macros inside of Excel. So thank you all very much for watching. If you would like to leave a comment, let us know how we're doing. Go ahead, drop one down below. If you'd like to give us a thumbs up, we'd greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to keep watching the series, go ahead and subscribe to our channel because we are going to be covering every feature inside of Excel Draw version 4 over the next couple weeks. Thank you all very much for watching.